So this morning we're continuing with our series on talents, and I would like to start with a personal story. I was about 19, 20 years old. I was in the military in South Africa, and I was driving a Honda Ballad. I don't know if you can remember the old Honda Ballads with the nose that was like sharp, and the headlights, when you switch on the lights, the headlights came up like this. I was driving one of those, and I thought this was the coolest car. You know, it was nice and low to the ground, corner nice, you know. Didn't drive over the speed limit, maybe once or twice, but not regularly. But it was a nice car, comfortable car. It was a 1600 champagne color. It was so nice. And one day I was driving on the highway, around 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. It was a Friday evening. I'll never forget it. Drive on that highway thinking, this is it, you know. Sound in the back, 9-inch speakers with the amp. Going. Actually, I listened to metal that time, so it was probably more like, ah. Anyway. So I was driving down this highway, and then suddenly everything just stopped, you know, like, and I couldn't understand what was going on. Literally everything stopped. I managed to get to the side of the road, and being the smart 19, 20-year-old I am, I got out of the car, opened the bonnet, you know, stood over that bonnet looking at this engine. Fiddling here, fiddling there, heating this, heating that, getting out the back, getting my wheel spanner, you know, tapping here, tapping there, try nothing. Check battery, nothing. Everything, nothing. Eventually, I thought, okay, hold on. I'll have to phone a tow truck. So I phoned a tow truck. Tow truck towed me in. And I couldn't figure out what was wrong. You know, that I looked at the engine, I fiddled around, but couldn't figure out what was wrong. And the tow truck towed it first to the tow yard, which cost a fortune because it had to stay the night there. And then the next day, he towed it to a mechanic. And the mechanic phoned me and said, listen, I've got a few questions for you. I've looked at your engine. When last have you serviced this car? I'm like, serviced the car? I don't know. I've never serviced this car, you know? And he said, okay, so the cam belt broke. And I was like, whew, luckily, it's just a belt, you know, it's a cam belt. And I'm thinking, okay, so 500 Rand, maybe 800 Rand. And he said to me, listen, the cam belt lets your whole engine, you know, it drives what they call a cam. And I'm not going to go into specifics because after that, I actually went to look into this. So in your car, you've got a rod that pushes up the pistons, okay? And the cam belt drives that thing. And when the cam belts break, it's chaos inside the engine. And what happened was the pistons bent, the car seized, everything, the engine was just a mess. And he recommended me that I just put in a new engine. That's how bad the engine was. And while I was preparing for this message, I was thinking about that, you know? It really got me thinking, because how many of us approach our lives like I approached that engine, you know? I might have looked at like an expert, you know, next to the road, everybody's driving by and thinking, wow, look at that guy, he's got a wheel spanner tapping his engine. He knows something about engines. How many of us just approach our lives, our talents, our gifts like that? We open ourselves up, we look at ourselves, and all we see is this one confusing me. I'm looking at my talents, I'm looking at my gifts, and I know it's there. I know it's there. I know it must do something, but I just don't know what it does. Sometimes you look at it and think it's insignificant. You know, it's like a cam belt. An insignificant thing but if you actually drill it down, it's a very, very important thing within the big engine, within everything that happens. Many of us look at our lives and we just don't understand that some talents are given only to us. It's not given to the person next to you. It's given to you. I was looking at the worship team this morning. I was looking at Faniel when he was playing the keyboard. He enjoys it so much. You can see it in the way he plays. I'm looking at Randy playing this guitar, and it's always been a dream of mine to play guitar. I'm not talented in that aspect. I can do the chords. But this hand just does not want to go. The chords is fine, but this hand, there's no rhythm. It's just like tring, tring, tring. You know? And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, wow, the talent. Looking at Divan playing the drums. Just thinking, wow, that's so much talent. If one of these individuals that was here this morning, if Hudson wasn't here, it wouldn't have been the same. If Faniel wasn't here, if Hunty wasn't here, if anybody else that was here this morning leading worship was not here, sharing their gift, sharing their talent, we would not have been ministered to the way we've been ministered this morning. You see, years ago, someone asked me a question, and that person changed my perspective. I was praying for something, waiting on God to do something, waiting on Him. And he said, what if the one thing you're waiting for, what if the one thing you're waiting for God to do is the one thing God is waiting for you to do? What if you're praying, God, open doors, and God is saying, but I've given you talents. All you need to do is walk in that way. All you need to do is take that talent, cultivate it, and move in that direction. What if we're missing that? And that really changed my perspective. It changed my perspective in the sense that God has entrusted us with something of value, and He wants us to use it. He doesn't want us to just hide it somewhere. He wants us to use it. And let's be honest, all of us have got a talent. All of us have got a gift. There's not one person here this morning that does not have a talent or a gift. Not one. It might be the gift of leading. You might be able to stand up in front of people, casting a vision, and everybody sees the future and is willing to follow you. It might be organizing. You might be really good of taking a mess and creating order out of it. It might be singing. It might be playing an instrument. It might be creativity, taking a blank canvas and just painting, creating something that wasn't there before. Might be hospitality. Might be just the way you greet people. You might be the type of person that can let a stranger feel like family in less than 5 minutes. You get those people. We've got people in our home group like that. They just have I don't have that gift, unfortunately. I wish I had. I just don't have it. But there's other people that does have it. They can just strike up a conversation with any stranger, and you would think they're friends for years. And you're like, oh, so where do you know each other from? No, we just met. I'm like, wow, that's impressive, you know? It's a gift. It's a talent. It's something that God has given us. He's given you. You see, but too often, we do two things with our gifts and our talents. We either downplay our gifts because it doesn't look like someone else's gift, or we hide it because we're afraid we mess it up. We hide it because we're afraid we will mess it up. You might be there, oh, okay, Doné, you're standing up here, you're talking to people, and that's your gift, that's your talent, that's what God has given you, but I can't do that. God doesn't expect you to do that. God doesn't expect you to do that. I was reading It was actually a video that came up while I was preparing, and then I had to first go find out if it's the truth, because in today's life, you can't just look at a video and say, wow, that's the truth. You have to go look with AI, you have to go look and go see if it is the truth. So one day, there was it was, I think it was 1930s. There were two boys. One of them really, really didn't want anything to do with the church. And the other one wanted him to come to a specific meeting. It was a big tent that was pitched, and there was a preacher coming to preach there. And eventually they decided to go, and they're going to go to this meeting. And when they got to this meeting, they entered the tent and they saw there's no chairs left. Decided to turn around and walk away. The usher saw them walking away. He ran after them and said, come, don't worry, I'll make space for you. He made space for those two boys. They came in, they sat there, they gave their lives to Jesus. They dedicated their lives to Christ. They decided they're going to go into ministry. One became like an organizer, supporting type of role that he played, and the other one, we know him as Billy Graham. And the question is, who actually who focused on their gifts? Who worked on the talent? Was it the preacher? No, it was the usher. It was the guy at the door that just took his job so seriously that he reached out to these two boys and pulled them into this tent to say, come, I'll make space for you. You see, so many times we think that my talents aren't as good as that person's talent. My talent can't do this. My talent can't do that. But God doesn't want you to compare your talents to anybody's. He wants you to recognize your talent and use your talent. That's what He wants you to do. And that main question for today is, what will you do with what God gave you? What will you do with what God gave you? In Romans 12, verse 4 to 8, Paul came in and he just get to the heart of this, and he really made it so practical for us to understand. And I'm going to read it for you. He says, for just as each of us has one body with many members, and these members do not all have the same function, so in Christ we, though many, form one body. Each member belongs to all the others. We have different gifts according to the grace given to each of us. Important word. According to the grace given to us. If your gift is prophesying, then prophesy in accordance with your faith. If it's serving, then serve. If it's teaching, then teach. If it's encouraging, then give encouragement. If it's giving, give generously. If it's lead, do it diligently. If it is to show mercy, do it cheerfully. You see, what Paul is actually saying, he's saying you are part of something bigger than yourself. You are part of something bigger than yourself. Now, when we look at the human body, we see different things. We see ears, we see eyes, we see a nose, we see a mouth, we see a head, we see fingers. And this whole body is working together by doing its function. And if you think about it, your finger has got an important role to play in life. But the finger, all God is asking you to be is not to be the brain. He's asking you to be the finger, the best finger you can be. If you're a kneecap, God doesn't ask you to be the brain and to think. He just wants you to be the best kneecap you can be. Why? Because you are important. Without a kneecap, we've got a problem. An eye can't hear and an ear can't see. God wants you to recognize your talents and your gifts and to use it. And that's essential. The key phrase there is according to the grace given to us. Now, this is so important to today's message. Because first of all, you didn't earn it. You did not earn your gift. You did not earn your talents. It's a gift. You can't say, I've worked hard for my talent. It's a gift. And the second thing is you didn't create it. You can't say, oh, look at this talent I've created. You can't do it because it's a gift. It's a gift. And the key point there is, if God gave it, it means you're a steward of it and not the owner of it. I'm going to say it again. If you recognize that it's a gift and you did not create it, it means it belongs to God and you are only a steward. And you need to steward your talents. You need to steward your gifts. It's your responsibility. In Matthew 25, verse 14, Jesus gave a teaching. It's a very well-known teaching. It's a parable he used. He used the parable of the talents. Now, what we need to make clear is the talents that they are speaking about is money. Okay? How we see talents in our English vocabulary is our talents, our singing, talking, doing stuff. This was specifically focused on money, but the principle is the same, because the principle is about stewardship. And he gave these individuals talents, and he went away. Two of the individuals went and they put their talents, the money to work, and they multiplied it. One individual did what? He hid the talent. He went and dug in the ground and hid the talent. And when the master came back, he saw what the servants did with the talents. What do you think he did with the guy that hid his talent? He did not say, oh, don't worry, I know there was so much pressure on you. Don't worry, times will change. No, he rebuked him. He rebuked him. In fact, he said, let me get that phrase. Hold on. He said, you wicked and lazy servant. That's harsh words. And he took the talent and gave it to someone else, to the guy who had 10. He took it away. Now, what is important is to look at the principle that God gave you talents, He gave you gifts, and He expects us to multiply that. He expects us to use it. He doesn't expect us to bury it. He doesn't expect us to bury it. Your talent, your gifts is all on loan. If you get to a stage where you bury your talents, you bury your gifts, you're going to wake up a year down the line, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the line, look back at your life and wonder, what did other people miss out? Who could I have reached if I just used my talents? If I just managed my talents differently? You see, God doesn't expect you to be perfect. He doesn't expect you to have your talents and have a perfect talent. That's not what He expects, but He expects you to use it. He expects you to look at your talents and to cultivate your talents. So, the reality is, if we are practical, why do you think we struggle cultivating our talents? Why do you think we struggle taking our talents and just using it? Why do you think? The first thing is comparison. We compare ourselves to the person next to us, and that's a talent killer. As soon as I compare my guitar playing against Hudson or against Randy, that's it. I'm not going to touch my guitar. As soon as if I compare my talent to Divan on the drums, there's no way I'll look at the drums and say, whoa, that's nice, and that's where it's going to stay. It's not going to move anywhere. As soon as you look at someone who's got the ability to take a business idea and make a success of it, as soon as you look at that, you think, wow, Bezos started in his garage and look where he is now. I can never do it. You're done. You're done. You should not compare your talents with other people's. That's the first thing. A body has got many parts. You just need to make sure that you play your part. The next one is fear. Why? I'm afraid. I'm afraid I mess up. I'm afraid to stand and talk in front of people. What if I say something wrong? I'm afraid to take the guitar and play something. What if I play a note wrong? Or, like my hand, just want to do its own thing. I think I'm mixing up drums and guitar, to be honest. Because when I play guitar, it sounds like I'm playing drums. You know? But I can't, as soon as I get afraid, that's it. And the funny thing is, we're going to mess up. Did you know that? If you live out your talents, you're going to mess up. But that's fine. Why? Because you grow. God wants you to grow. We're going to mess up. Sometimes you're going to say stuff you shouldn't be saying. Sometimes you're going to play a note you shouldn't be playing. Sometimes you're going to play the wrong song while the rest of the people sing the right song. That's fine. Sometimes you're going to start a business and it's going to fail. Sometimes you're going to cast a vision and no one follows you. That's fine. You learn. You learn. And the subtle, most dangerous one of all is comfort. Comfort. That is probably one of the that's what the guy did when he took his talents and hid it. That's what he did. He just took it and under the bed. No one knows it's there. It's fine. I'll use it one day when the time is right, when the economy changes. I'll use it when I feel I've learned stuff. I'll use it when I feel that I've got time. How many of us say we don't have time? And the reality is we have time. You just need to compartmentalize and focus. That's what you need to do. And suddenly you've got time. Comfort. The master didn't say, I'll give you a bonus if you wait until the economy is good. He said, put it to work. And that's what he's saying this morning to you. Put your talents to work. Put your gifts to work. What you have from God is for God, and He expects you to use it. So how do you put it to work? How do you put it to work? First of all, you have to identify it. Very practical. This is a very practical section. You have to identify it. You have to say, God, what is my talents? You have to look at your life and identify your talents. What are you good at? What are you naturally good at? Ask someone you trust, your wife, your husband. Ask your home group leaders, what am I good at? What do you see in me? Have you ever asked that question to someone? What do you see in me? They sometimes see you totally different than you think you are. What do you see in me? What should I be using more? What gift, what talent should I be using more? Step 2, very important. Very, very important. Very important is to dedicate it. So many times you see people with so much talent, and what do? They try to honor themselves. They try to honor themselves. Try to make money from their own talents. Try to get personal gain from their own gifts and talents. I'm not saying it's wrong to make money. I'm just saying that it's wrong if it's all about you, because it's not all about you, it's about God. And it's about glorifying God. So dedicate it. Say, God, this is yours, not mine. I'm going to use it for your glory, not for my glory. And as soon as you do that, you know what you're doing. You're removing that fear element, you're removing that comfort element, and you're removing that comparison element. Why? Because suddenly you use your gifts and you use your talents to worship God. And if you use your talents, you use your gifts to worship God, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong because you're glorifying God. You might mess up, that's fine. You're glorifying God. You pick up, you're glorifying God. The third one is to develop it. Most of these talented musicians this morning on stage, they did not one day when they were 3 years old, I'm sure Hudson, maybe you, but someone picked up a guitar at 3 and just started boom, 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 playing the tunes. It doesn't happen like that. If you look at business leaders, you look at people that's really good in business or in organizing things or in any sphere, hospitality, everything, they develop constantly. They read up constantly. Just constantly equipping themselves. You have to develop your gifts and your talents. Why? Because you're putting it to work. You're multiplying it. You're growing it. You're not hiding it. And then last of all, you need to deploy it. You can't wait for the perfect conditions. You can't wait for the day. One day. It's not going to happen. It will stay one day. And one day you'll be 100 years old and you'll be looking back and think, I don't have many days left of this one day. So just start. Start small. Start small. If you've got a gift of encouragement, send a text of encouragement today to someone. If you've got a gift of hospitality, learn to cook something different. Lianae is now thinking of going out of the house and suddenly she's this amazing cook, baker. Suddenly, it's like, where does this come from? Because she's got a gift of hospitality. That's why. She just has it. She can make someone feel welcome like this. She's got that gift. She can reach out to anybody and make friends. She was a little girl. She was running around. We were going on vacation. A lot of kids. She will just zone in, make a friend, and that friend, some of her friends she's got now is from different schools. They weren't even in the same school. She just have got that personality to do it. It's a gift. She needs to cultivate it. So if you've got that gift, if you've got a gift of teaching, put up your hand and teach kids, man. If you've got a gift of teaching, put up your hand and say, where can I support? If you've got a gift of organizing, figure out where you can get involved. And I'm not just saying in church, I'm saying in life in general. Where can you get involved to start organizing things? Don't wait for permission. Just start. Just start. Why? Because you're deploying it. You're releasing it. You're moving forward. I want to end with a story that I read. It's about a contractor, a guy that built houses in America. And he was really handy, you know. He's probably the handyman that the dictionary talks about, you know. So he can do literally anything. And he retired. And he decided, when he retired, he decided that he's going to start a ministry. He's going to start a ministry. And he started his ministry from his garage. And what he did was, he went out and looked for the single mothers, the poor, the people in need, and said to them, if you've got a broken washing machine, bring it to me, I'll fix it for you for free. If you've got a problem in your house with your plumbing, just call me, I'll come out, I'll fix it, don't worry. If you've got a car problem, I probably should have had his number, but if you've got a car problem, phone me, I'll come and help you. If you've got anything wrong in your house, just phone me, I'll be there. And he was so busy. He worked harder than he used to. And one of his friends came to him and said, listen, what are you doing? You could make a killing. You're busier than ever. Just, you know, you can make so much money. You know what was his answer? I can't preach. I can't sing. But I'm good with my hands. And I'm willing to serve God with my hands and with the time that I've got left. Just think about what would have happened if he decided, I'm going to play golf every day. I'm not gonna do that. Just think about the impact that guy had on people's lives. Someone phoning him up saying, come and please fix my washing machine. I'm a single mom. And the guy comes in and fixes it for free. And she asks him, why do you do it? And he's got an opportunity to share his faith. Why? Because he's deploying his talents. He's not hiding it. So what would have happened if he just took it and pushed it under the bed? How many people you would just never heard of him, would never heard of Jesus? So my real question to you this morning is, imagine you keep your gift to yourself. Imagine you kick your gift under the bed. Who in your future never going to hear about Jesus? Never going to look at you and think, wow, this guy is deploying his talents. This lady is deploying her talents. God wants you. He wants you to deploy it. And one day, God will ask. He will ask, what did you do with what I gave you? What did you do with what I gave you? And my prayer this morning is that every single person will stand before God and say, I used it for you. I used it for you. And then to hear that words that we've heard so many times, that God said, well done, good and faithful servant.